Hey everybody, welcome to So Many Sequels, your book club for movies. I'm Josh.
I'm Garrett.
And I'm David.
Welcome to a brand new month of the show. It's May.
Thank God.
It's May. I can't say it's gonna be May because it is May. It's
already
May.
Hey, that works though with the syllables.
I don't know. This year's been interesting for that meme though. I don't know what you all saw, but I have just seen it. I just saw it used with Justin Timberlake's mugshot, so he might be done.
Oh no,
he might be toast.
Yeah,
I had not seen that, but that's very funny.
Yeah. Anyway, welcome to May. We're going to be talking about disaster movies all month long. Mayhem, mayday,
Yeah.
death rain upon you.
yes.
We've all selected our movies.
Yeah.
We'll let you know later what they are, but we are giving bonus points,
Oh, we are, aren't we?
figuratively speaking, for anyone that has the word Mayday in the dialogue of their movie. Now, you can't go out and specifically look for that.
I didn't.
I didn't either. Mine, no such thing. But if it did, I'm prepared to hand out bonus points.
Now,
Excellent.
Mayday is usually a airplane thing, I think. So we'll have to watch for any plane sets. So I think
scenes.
my movie's got a good chance.
Your movie has probably some planes in it. Mine's got some flying things in it. Could happen. It could happen.
Yeah.
So we're talking about disaster movies all month long. We'll get the month started off with Garrett's pick later this week, which is Dante's Peak. Thrilling.
Yeah.
I was very excited about this choice.
You were?
I was, because I watched this movie a few times as a kid. I recalled.
Okay, very cool. I had never seen it before, so I was excited to... You know what? Let me backtrack, because I was going to say I was excited to see Pierce Brosnan in a different role, but I've only seen him in non-James Bond movies. So
Yeah, you haven't.
He's kind of he's kind of James Bond in all his movies in the 90s, honestly. He's just some action. He's just some British accent guy. Yeah, except he's the kind of a villain in Mrs. Doubtfire. Not really, but you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's always just kind of the suave guy who comes in to save the day in some capacity.
Yeah.
So we're gonna be talking about Dante's Peak later this week. Be sure you subscribe to the show. Go to SoManySequels.com. You can follow us wherever you get podcasts, or you can get the videos on YouTube or on Spotify. Let's get into just what's going on this week, though. Catch up on what we've been watching. David, you went and saw the brand new... I heard there's a new Marvel out, as that friendship trailer says. There's a new Marvel out. How is it? How's the Thunderbolts?
It was actually pretty solid. You want to take my word for it? There are a lot of good word of mouth coming out of this one. To me, it felt like a very... I don't know. It felt very much in the vein of sort of 2015 to 2018 Marvel movie.
Good years.
Yeah, and it feels like we're in this loop of Marvel's back, Marvel's dead, Marvel's back, Marvel's dead. Well, this is one of the Marvel's back kind of movies. Okay. And I think a pretty solid continuation, generally. It's a continuation of a lot of characters from various projects, but centrally it's kind of a continuation of Florence Pugh's character Yelena from Black Widow. I do think Black Widow is a fairly underrated MCU movie. Second time I watched that movie, it actually greatly improved upon how I viewed it. And so there's a lot more character depth in this one. It felt, sometimes when watching the Marvel movies as of late, it has felt like when you're watching them, whether it's Brave New World or the Marvels, like you can almost feel like that things weren't shot in order, or weren't feel like that there was like a reshoot situation. You can almost see it on the screen. This didn't have that. Mm-hmm. The director, Jack Schaefer, his goal was to shoot as much in camera as he could. Obviously, there are some visual effects and some pretty interesting. I thought there were some pretty interesting visual effects, specifically with the main threat of the movie. But it's a very I enjoyed myself. I think a lot of people seem to be enjoying it. It has, without spoiling anything, it has a lot of fun character moments. But I don't know. People are, I think, it's hard to talk about one MCU project without it always devolving into talking about the MCU as like an entity. So I'll avoid that. But I'll just say I enjoyed myself. I'm still kind of processing exactly how how to review it, but I recommend it.
Yeah, what kind of have you landed on a star rating, or is that what you're trying to decide?
I think that's what I'm trying to decide, because inevitably what happens with a lot of blockbuster type movies for me, not just MCU but blockbusters in general, is I come out of a movie. I don't know if you guys have this. A lot of times I come out of a movie and I generally feel like I'm on a high. I love going to the movies, and I love seeing movies that are exciting. And then sometimes I come out of the movie and I'm like, oh my gosh, that was great. Oh, I have no problems. And then like a month later, 2 months later, I've had time to process, and I go back and go, well, it wasn't that great. It wasn't that exciting. I remember this or that. So sometimes I just have to let things cook for a while. I've had a lot of movies depreciate over time as I move on.
Yeah.
But it's very rare, because I think I just generally can tell when a movie's not really my speed. So I very rarely come out of a movie and just go, man, that sucked. I can't remember the last time I walked out of a movie just like immediately knowing that I didn't like it. But anyway, I'm leaning towards 4 stars, but
okay.
That's.
Have I scared you enough to where you feel like you can't talk about Marvel in a good way on this show anymore, David?
I struggle because it is hard to figure out, like, what could I say that would lead you guys to believe that, like, you would like it.
Without saying too much.
Yeah.
Without saying too much, or without just sounding like it's the same thing I said every other time.
Well, yeah.
Well,
and so, I will say, that is a problem, because sometimes you do say the same things about all of them, and it gets hard to defend. But I believe you on this one. I don't know why, but I believe you.
Well, and I'll say...
Yeah.
I'll say this. I think that one thing it really benefited from was it had, I think, a clear idea of what it wanted to be. And it wasn't just trying to set up things. It does set up some things just by nature. But the best MCU movies back in the day managed to tell good stories while also planting small seeds without being like, hey, see this seed we're planting over here? Like, without it being overly distracting. Anyway, I don't want to, but I enjoyed myself. I had a good time. It is much darker and much grayer than most of the MCU movies. Like, it's intentionally very grayscale. But yeah, so I mean, there's going to be some aspects of like the humor that may not work for people, may not work for people. But that's just the vibe of the stuff. So it is what it is.
Okay, I plan to watch it this week, so I hope to have my own report by our next episode to weigh in on this. I got to talk about a movie I watched on a whim and it's David's fault. And he didn't even know why or what it is or anything about it, probably.
I don't.
I've
not heard of this movie.
You made an offhanded remark, I think last week, about John Candy playing the president in a movie. And I thought, I was like, what is that? That's not. I would watch that. And so I do my Googling, and that doesn't exist. You're misremembering something, but I found this movie. That has John Candy in it.
Yeah.
And it's called Canadian Bacon. I found it was on Prime, so that's what led me to watching it. But this movie, nobody saw it. It came out, like I said, in 95. It stars John Candy as the sheriff of a small town near Niagara Falls, and Alan Alda as the unnamed president of the United States. It's got a great cast, actually, of 90s comedians. You've got Rhea Perlman in there. There's a great cameo from Jim Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. There's Rip Torn is in this movie. But
R.I.P.
The movie is about, and why I had to turn it on when I saw what it was about. The president is experiencing very low approval ratings, and people just hate him. And so he decides to try raising his popularity by starting a Cold War with Canada. And then it felt so ripped from the headlines that I had to watch it. And then when I dive in, guys, it gets deeper. This is the only non-documentary directed by Michael Moore. It got crazier.
Oh, wow.
You didn't say it was directed by Michael Moore.
No, it was not. It was not very good. I gave it a 2.5 stars, mainly because it does have moments where it was genuinely like, okay, this is good satire, because that's what it's going for.
Yeah.
In this movie, it's a slightly, it's a different premise from the reality I'm referencing, where Alan Alda, they literally don't say his name. He's just the president, and in the credits, he's just president of the United States. He's basically unpopular because everything's kind of fine, and he's a liberal president, and we're not really at war with anybody. We don't have any bad guys, and so they're like, when we don't have any bad guys, you're the bad guy. And so his assistant or his advisors are like, let's start some shit with Canada, and it works. Long story short, and the movie is kind of about starting this ridiculous land war with Canada at the Niagara Falls line. John Candy becomes I'd hate to spoil the movie, so this is not like the ending, but John Candy as the sheriff catches these Canadian spies trying to come in and blow up the dam. It's a lot.
Wow.
They
That
make a
sounds
joke about
incredible.
it basically being the 51st state already. It was a lot.
Where did you discover this, Jim?
So it is streaming currently on Prime.
Very nice.
I found it through Googling John Candy playing the president,
Right.
Yeah.
and this got me
So,
there. So, that's
Josh,
my
I have figured out just how far afield my brain went when I mentioned that the other day, because I found the movie I was thinking about.
It was First
And
Kid.
I'm just gonna. That would be preferable, because I was so far afield in my description. So I was thinking of John Goodman's King Ralph.
Oh yeah.
Do you guys
okay.
remember King Ralph?
Yeah, vaguely.
Yeah, John Goodman turns out he's like king of somewhere, England maybe, I don't know, but yeah, it's like John Goodman. He's there. They got him in a palace, and he's wearing like a Packers gear.
Cheesehead.
Anyway,
No,
Jeez,
there's a great moment toward the beginning of this one where Candy and Rhea Perlman are, sheriff's deputies, and they're working the Niagara Falls area, and there's a guy. It's bleak. There's a guy attempting to jump off the falls, and they talk about how there was a new incentive passed by the police department to try to help prevent these incidents where officers would get like $30 if they talked someone off of the ledge, and they'd get $50 if they had to fish a body out of the river. And so they're down there going, jump, jump, so they can get the $50 instead of 30. That's the kind of Michael Moore humor we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So
Yeesh.
that was my update. What about you, Garrett? What did you watch this week?
I kind of went on a spy kick. I was thinking, really the only movies that come out anymore that are spy-based are kind of James Bond movies. Like, I remember growing up, there were so many different kinds of spy
kids.
movies. Spy kids. And I think it's a genre that is starting to come back. But I started with an old one, Jumpin' Jack Flash, starring a very young Whoopi Goldberg. This is from like 1984 or something like that. I can't remember when it came out. But I also want to run down the list of 80s comedians in this movie, because we have Whoopi Goldberg, Carol Kane, Annie Potts, let's see, John Lovitz, Phil Hartman. There's Jim Belushi also makes an appearance in there as well, Josh. So it's a Tracy Ullman, Michael McKean is in it for a hot second. So it's got like a laundry list of people. But this is a movie where Whoopi Goldberg shines. Have y'all ever seen Jumpin' Jack Flash?
I have no memories of it, so no. Might as well say no.
I have no idea how I
feel
found
like
it.
I feel like I've seen some of these images in like best of Whoopi Goldberg
Sure.
montages
I believe
that I've
that.
seen, maybe.
Because she is so funny. She works at a bank in the 80s doing transfer funds, right? And all of a sudden, somebody hacks into her computer, and it turns out to be a British intelligence spy. And so he's stuck trying to find somebody to get him home. She gets involved, ends up going to the British consulate, ends up going to do a whole bunch of crazy stuff that a black woman in the 80s dealing with British people probably wasn't, capable of doing. But she, truly, it's one of the funniest things I've ever seen her in. And I watched it a ton as a kid. So I actually would recommend it as a really fun watch. I thought it held up really well. She's super funny, and she's surrounded by funny people. So there is a jump scare of Stephen Collins, which is not great.
Oh, no!
Yeah, and he's kind of in it the whole time. So that's not... He's like
the dad from Seventh Heaven, isn't he?
Yeah, so like that is the worst part of it, is that he is very involved in the movie. But other than that, it's good.
Where is this movie available?
I rented it.
Okay.
Yeah, because I'd seen it so many times, I was like, yeah, I gotta pay for this.
Okay. And then you did have a new movie too, didn't you?
Yeah, I watched Steven Soderbergh's Black Bag, which is now streaming on Peacock. This movie came out this year. And it's also an espionage, kind of a spy movie. Mm-hmm. It wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. And I'm dealing with a little sickness, so I have to watch it again. But it's Steven Soderbergh. It's written well. It's really captivating. You're kind of drawn into the story. I got a little lost here and there. And it wasn't necessarily as spy-focused as I wanted it to be. It was kind of like, and I'm not saying this is in a negative way, it was kind of like spy relationship drama. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of neat. Think trash TV, but spies. Mm-hmm. But better, because it's Steven Soderbergh. That's the vein. So it wasn't as spy-y as I wanted it to be, but I think that if you are into that kind of genre in the field, like, you'll love it if you are really into that kind of vibe that Soderbergh puts out. It's got Michael Fassbender, Cate Blanchett, dude from Bridgerton, whose name I don't know, Pierce Brosnan, which is relevant because
Simon
we'll
Basson?
be watching Dante's Peak next week. And so, it's got a good cast.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And where was this streaming?
This is on the Peacock.
This was on Peacock. Okay, great. I watched a Steven Soderbergh film that came out last year. That guy makes movies like
all the time.
Yeah.
Which one?
It was called Presence.
Presence, yeah.
I wanted to see that.
You
too.
should
One from
see
like
that
the ghost
if it
perspective.
ends up streaming somewhere. Yeah, it's from the perspective of said presence.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I heard about a movie that's in the works. That's a haunted house movie from the perspective of the dog.
Yeah, called Good Boy.
Yeah.
If anything
what that's
happens
gonna be
to
like.
that dog, I'm coming unglued.
I know.
Don't worry, he'll be the final dog.
He better be. All right, let's get into some news and trailer talk for the week. So, this is the time of year where we get all the rules changes that come out for the Academy Awards. This one was a little surprising to a lot of people who may not realize that there was no actual rule requiring voters to watch the movies that were nominated prior to voting. And so they've made that a rule now officially, where if you want to vote in the thing, you have to watch the movie, which just feels obvious. But naturally, human nature, they're already finding ways to get around this. They are doing loopholes where they just press play on the Academy's streaming site that they have for this, and we'll just kind of leave it in a tab. They'll mute it. They'll do whatever to show that it was played, but that you can't until they actually track people's eyeballs, which is technically possible.
Yeah,
already.
or they put them in a scenario where like it's like monitored viewing. Like, hey, if you're an Academy voter, the movies that are available are going to be shown at this theater at this time. Come down and watch.
My answer to this, and then I want to hear from you guys. You can't. I get it. You can't make someone watch the movie. You just can't. It is what it is. But so help me, if you catch the voter not watching the movie, you find out in any way, shape, or form, not only should they be, at least their voting rights should be removed from their Academy membership. Their votes should go into like a lottery where they like let some real like actual movie fan, someone who cares about movies and can critique movies, who can't otherwise join the Academy, because it's it's Vince Vaughn probably. It's Vince Vaughn, sitting at home not watching the movie.
Yeah.
Let me have Vince Vaughn's
Alan
vote.
Cumming.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't disagree that you can't make anybody watch it. Like, there's no way that you can force people to watch these movies, right? That's on them. They're going to do what they're going to do. But I do agree there needs to be some kind of, like, A, if you are a voter, you should be watching the movies. What's wrong with you? B, if you don't want to watch movies, yeah, give up your vote. Like,
I will also just put out the reminder that this is these people's lives. Movies are your career, and, like, you can't watch, like,
There are some people in the movie industry that are like, I don't like to watch movies very much. Like, I like to make them.
Yeah.
But they're like, I don't
all
want
day.
And that's why I offer them the
3.5
opportunity
hours of
to
the
give
brutalist.
them to give the vote to me, because they're
be-
wasting it.
Yeah. Now I would so like I'm not trying to come to anybody's defense. I'm just saying, like, it seems to me like it's not that heavy of a burden. Like, you know, worst case scenario, you have to watch, what, 15, 20 movies? Like, I don't think you have to watch all of them. There's going to be some movies that are only nominated in one
I
category
watched like 3
or
times
2
that
categories.
for free. It's not even my job. Again, give me the
So-
damn vote. What are we like? You can't watch a movie? It's the bare minimum. You
Now,
can't
look,
watch a movie.
If
you
you're
can't watch a
given-
movie.
If you're given a time frame, that would be
A year.
really
You have a year, a
difficult.
fucking year. Watch the movies when they come out.
It's true. You do have a lot of time in the build-up, but I'm talking about, like, between knowing your nominations and knowing, you know, when you get to vote. If it was like you have 10 days to watch 25, 30 movies, it'd be like, golly, okay, what a pain in the butt. I know one of these is a 3.5 hour think piece, but it seems to me like at the minimum you have 3 months to, like, okay, I know what's nominated, I know what my vote is.
Yeah.
I can pepper in some of these movies, and luckily I've already watched, you know, 8 or 9 of them,
Yeah.
or something like that. And, you know, people are busy. Obviously, people have jobs, but I would think it would
Yeah,
not be
and
that
their
hard.
jobs are movies. Interesting. Yeah, interesting.
Their jobs are making movies and doing press for them. Which apparently, from what I've heard from some actors these days, it feels like doing press is more of the job than the acting anymore. But
I'm sure it's
it
very
doesn't feel like it
difficult
should
for
be
them.
that hard. It doesn't
No.
feel like that big of an ask.
It's truly not. It's truly not. Speaking of movies that better be watched when they're on the Oscars shortlist coming up, Sinners was just given an IMAX re-release because of the demand, and it almost immediately sold out in the only 9 cities in America that still offer a 70mm IMAX theater.
I was going to say, it's not that many theaters that offer an actual true IMAX screen. So, you know, so I think, Josh, you put it in here, like, IMAX is a crowded format. Like,
It's
there's
extremely
only so
crowded
many.
format. It's already been
you know.
dumped out of regular IMAX theaters for Thunderbolts, which will be dumped out of IMAX theaters in less than 2 weeks for Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
So, like, these movies are not getting a stay in these theaters.
No, I mean, honestly, it's a wonder that they don't build more IMAX theaters. I don't know what the cost of that is.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, you know, they don't have time. They got to watch a bunch of movies. Garrett, you have got to see Sinners.
I know. It's on
That's
the
all I
list.
got to say to you. You got to
I
see
know.
it.
I know. I was gonna, you know, it's hard because I have my weekend.
I
is
know it's hard, yeah.
Monday, Saturday, right? And I am incapable of seeing a movie on Mondays because they don't start until like the afternoon when I've got other stuff going on.
Yeah.
And so for me, I used to be able to get up when we worked
Different
news
schedules,
shifts.
yeah.
I could get up, go to a movie in the morning, and be done to go to work. It was a great time. Now I can't. I'm off all day, and I can't go until like 3 or 4.
Gosh, I'm glad that we're not still on that schedule, because now the movies aren't in the mornings anymore at all. We wouldn't get to do
Yeah.
that. We'd get to watch
Yeah.
movies literally never.
Yeah, and that's the boat I'm in.
Yeah.
I you know, it's tough to squeeze them in on a weekday, and
It's
then
tough.
It is.
one day on a Saturday is tough. So
Eh,
AMC down the street, give me that.
no, and
I'll come.
Give me that.
You ain't got to pay nobody else. You show me how to work the things, I'll do it.
That's true. Will you just let him in? Just let him in.
yeah.
Flip it
Yeah.
on.
No, hey, now wait a minute.
I'm a quick learn. I know how to press play. It's
I
not
don't know,
like I got
we
to
shouldn't
thread
just be
anything
letting.
anymore.
Nah, you know
Sinners
it's
has
kids.
taught us we shouldn't just be letting people in.
Well,
I'm more responsible than half the people that work there.
that's valid. All right, let's talk about some trailers. Now You See Me, Now You Don't. the obvious title for the
This
third
is the
one.
third one, though. It's
Yes.
not the obvious title because this is the third one, and the second one was Now You See Me Too.
Fair.
And
That's
that's
true.
why that movie failed. Because everyone was like, now you see me, now you don't. What's wrong with you?
You know what?
Yeah.
You're right. You are the resident magician expert, so I'm gonna give the floor to you to talk about Now You See Me. Now you don't.
So, this is a movie that I think people have been really wanting for a long time if they're
I think
fans
so.
of this movie. Right? It's the trailer. Yeah, I was a little iffy on it because it feels like, I don't know, you got these original cast members and then you have a whole new flux of cast members that came in, and like, why are all of these people pretending to be the other? It was a little confusing. But I like all of the actors and I like the characters from the first movie because I really found that captivating. Great cast: Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson, Morgan Freeman. I don't know if Mark Ruffalo's in this one, but he was in the other two. So, like, it's got a huge stacked cast for the most part. So I hope that they pull it off, because the second one was, I never saw it, to be fair, because it looked like such a disappointment. It looked like, oof, and I heard it wasn't very good. So I'm going to go back and revisit it because I do want to give this one a chance. I really want it to be good. Josh, you just watched the trailer. What did you think?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to revisit the first one, which is the only one I also watched. I liked it. At least I remember liking it, but I don't remember a ton about it. And my reaction watching this trailer was, is Jesse Eisenberg believable as like the leader of this group? So I need to go back and confirm if he is. And this is not a knock on Eisenberg. I know he's capable, but like in this role, in this trailer, he just seemed a little like not it. So I'm curious about that. I'm curious about the whole, what did she say? Something about 8 magicians versus whatever.
Criminal syndicate.
100 gorillas.
Oh, okay, so we're all on that. See, if Garrett knows an internet trend like that, I know it's big.
Yeah, it's really penetrated through.
It really has, if you know about that. Yeah, I want to see it, but I'm skeptical.
Yeah.
The Now You See Me franchise, I exclusively know through the trailers. Like, I've never seen any of them. I've never seen the films themselves. I think one time, this is the level of nerd that I am, is that at one time I did watch one of those, like, Wired YouTube videos. It's like magician rates magic in movies or something like that. And they talked about a sequence in Now You See Me. And they were like...
Nice.
Like, you know, you could do a trick like this. Obviously, there's some movie magic that's going into making this particular trick work. This does not appear to be in camera or whatever. And I was like, oh, interesting. But I don't know anything about this. I will say, Jesse Eisenberg, to me, seemed very sleepy in this trailer. I'm not sure that he, like Josh said, I don't know. I don't know if I entirely buy it. However, it is, I didn't even realize this. I don't know if they've been working on it the whole time. It is the writers from Zombieland working on this one, and the director of Zombieland, as well as Jesse Eisenberg and Woody Harrelson back together. So, I mean,
At least there's that.
maybe there's something maybe there is something there for me.
There's something there.
All right, let's get into our box office report for the week and send this sucker home.
Well, so box office for this week, number one movie in America and worldwide is Thunderbolts with $76 million. That's lower on the end for an MCU movie traditionally, so I think you're looking at probably like somewhere in the U.S. in the range of like $200 to $250 million after it's all said and done. Maybe
What's the
$400
budget on
million.
this one, David?
Budget is about $180 million. So, and that was the same budget for Brave New World. So
I think stop that because it's 75 mil right here. I think that's what they're going to get going forward.
yeah, I think, and look, this is not necessarily, if you look historically at what the MCU has done, this is kind of in the range of like the first Thor movie and the first Captain America movie and Thor: The Dark World and things like that. Like, this was kind of where they started a long time back in the day, and 180 million is a much higher budget to overcome. That said, so far, good word of mouth. It does have a lot of competition coming up with like Mission Impossible down the road and things like that. So we'll see how it ends up. I think at this point, they're content to just kind of keep moving through. And if they have success, they have success. And if they don't, they don't. So we'll kind of see where it ends up. I think you're looking at maybe, something comparable to Ant-Man and the Wasp in terms of its overall performance, which wasn't necessarily bad, but anyhow, number 2, Sinners is still the number 2 spot, or drops to the number 2 spot with 33 million. Another great weekend here for Sinners with only a 26% drop after only dropping 6% the weekend before. This movie is quickly rising up the 2025 chart. It's going to pass Brave New World soon, and it'll be up there, I think, just behind Minecraft for like top movie of the year so far. Speaking of Minecraft, it's at number 3, sliding down to 13.7 million. The Accountant 2 at 9.4 in the 4th spot, and then horror video game adaptation Until Dawn rounds out the top 5 with 3.8 million. And that is your box office roundup for this week.
All right. Well, just a reminder for you all, we are doing disaster movies this month on So Many Sequels. We'll be starting off with Dante's Peak later this week, and then we got a couple others planned for the month ahead, so be sure that you are following us on social media at So Many Sequels Pod on Instagram and TikTok, and you can go to our website, somanysequels.com, where you can get a list of all of our episodes, links to follow us wherever you get podcasts, videos on YouTube and Spotify. You can even join our Discord community and talk with us about movies there. We love to read reviews from our friends in that group, so go join that. Sign up for Letterboxd. Review movies. Make profit. That's the steps. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.